Lift it over there. Right. Now let me undo again, Doug. I'm tied up, mate. Can't get on top of mate. I know, Doug. Just dragging it, mate, until we... I don't think there'll be a lot in this bit, do you? If I don't do this bit, I shan't get a water course to the main pump. Then I'll keep running out of water in the winter time. That'll put us in trouble.
Why are you having to do it this way?
Well, there's no other way. We sprayed this earlier on, but unfortunately with the rain, the spray stuff is not taken. So we've got to revert to old-fashioned methods. Some of these old-fashioned methods honestly work a darn sight better than these new spray stuffs.
How does this work?
It's a set of shear blades with a rope on each side, and they run along the bottom. And as you zigzag them, it works like a hacksaw. You cut the weeds off at mud level, and the weeds float up then, and then we drag the weeds out. Like they used to do in, well, right from the 1700s. You know, they've done it like this for years and years. It's the old-fashioned way of doing things. Up till about 3 years ago, I used to have 2 blokes doing this regular. They used to do the district 41 mile and get through it about 5 times a year. So therefore they kept our water course nice and clean of rubbish. But nowadays, with the present labour situation, well, you couldn't afford to have it all done like that this way. It would cost too much. You all right, Doug?
Yeah.
Don't get too far ahead of your shears, mate.
Must take constant maintenance then, all your rivers, is it?
All the time. You can't lapse, not even a week. There's always something you've got to be looking at. Always something you've got to be catching up with. And then when you finally think you've got the job beat, you find one of the sides of drains fell in, and you've got to call the machine out to pile it and repair it. That's the life of drainage, I'm afraid. There's some rubbish down there, Doug.
Yeah, there is.
You can feel it cutting it, can you?
Yeah.
You're going to swear at me when I start them engines up. That comes up that pump, ain't you?
What?
I say you're going to swear at me when I start them engines up and all that comes down that pump.
They all pump today then?
Yes, mate. Get it out.
Hey?
You've got to get it out, Doug.
Yeah.
But in some districts, what I mean, if you've got a adequate drainage system and you've only got a very small pump, say capable of only pumping say 60 or 70 tonne a minute, and you've got 200 tonne to the acre of rainfall fall in about 2 hours, well, it's obvious that pump can't cope with it. So therefore you still get flooding. And that's one of those things. Modern drains now, they're not like they used to be. I mean, once upon a time, it used to, I pull my water over 14, 15 miles. Well, once upon a time, to get that water from that 15 mile down to the pumps, it would take somewhere about 48 hours before that rain came through to the pumping station. But now the drainage system's in such good order, and modern techniques of drainage and that sort of thing, well, if it rains now and I get 2 inches of rainfall that welches down, well, I can have it that 14 mile, it'll be down the pumps within about 6 hours. So that's the difference in the drainage. I got Russ and Hornsby pumps, 36 inch Gwyn pumps on Russ and Hornsby engines. And what I mean, the old diesel engine, you can't leave them. I've got about 22 belts running in there. And the water glands, if you get a water gland go, the packing starts getting running hot in it, well, that can mess up, set of bearings up in a pump, 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, in a matter of 5-10 seconds. So you don't leave them, you've got to keep with them all the time. You can probably just manage to leave them and run over and have a cup of tea or snatch a bit of grub and then fly back again. But it's not a wise thing to leave a diesel engine. And well, these electric pumps, I reckon I've got one just built. It was built the year before last. It's more damn news than it's worth, I think. I can ship with my two diesels, I can ship 240 tonne a minute, which is a lot of water. Now this electric one, it can only shift about 60 tonne a minute, and it's all modern. These modern ways are all right, I suppose. Give me the old-fashioned ways every time. I know them diesel engines out there, they'll keep slogging in and purring over 24 hours a day for 6 months if I wanted them to. But that electric one down there, you set the blooming computers up in it, and what happens? You leave it 5 minutes, a seagull goes and settles on the wires, or there's a little flash of lightning, or anything like that, and it cuts your electrodes off and your pump stopped in the middle of the night. I'm living 8 miles from that pump. I don't know it stopped. And then we wonder why we've got a lot of water in the morning. When I've gone up there, I see by the graph paper that it's probably stopped at 10 o'clock at night. My job makes me right an outsider. I can't go and mix with the normal, like the local people in the evening. I can't go out and have a drink and mix with the local people. I'm more or less like a policeman. It's very bad, really. It's a bad situation to be in, because I don't like to go out and have a drink at nights and then your work and your job crops up. I think once you leave off work and go out on your own pleasure, and then I think work should be left out completely. You don't want to hear about it, because you'll get enough on it when you're working down here. What I mean, you'll get some funny old dudes, farmers. It's understandable when I'm doing drains out with a drag line and I'm putting mud on a farmer's field. Well, he ain't going to be very happy with me. I've got to try and put it on, same I don't put too much on to annoy him, but I've got to put enough out of that drain to keep that drain in good order. I know last year I had a high Mac working, and by the time I got down there, the high Mac driver and the farmer had got the jackets off at one another. I had to go and stop them, didn't I? Somebody rung me up and I went flying down there, and as I say, by the time I got down there, they got the jackets off at one another. They quite amusing really, because they were both 65-year-olds. It amused me. Anyhow, I said to the farmer, come on, get in this car and we'll go for a ride round, and we had to talk about it and discussed it, and everything settled down and we got the job done. But
Why is the farmer angry?
well, because he was putting mud on his field, and he reckoned he didn't want it, sort of thing, you know. He reckoned we didn't want to put the mud on his field, or the driver weren't putting it on his field how he should have done, sort of thing. When we try to put the mud on the field, and we try and put it 6 inches or less deep, and then when the farmer comes to drag it about, well, it's not noticed much, you know, it's not inconvenient to him. But of course, this farmer reckoned he'd put it on a foot deep instead of 6 inches deep, and of course, you know what farmers like, they won't give an inch, and the drag line driver wants to get as much work done to earn his money, so he won't give an inch, and you soon got a damn big argument, and they soon hammer and tongue at one another, like. Well, as I say, my job's like a policeman. I've got to keep the farmer happy, and I've got to keep the drag line people happy. Come on. You're an old woman, ain't you? Eh? You are.
How much did they used to live off the Fens?
Well, they don't live so much off the fen now, not as what they used to. I remember when I was a lad, I remember old grandfather Bates more than anything, and Harry Bates at Friday Bridge, which ain't so far away. They used to, well, trap blackbirds and stuff, and skylarks, and make skylark and blackbird pies. I've had a blackbird pie as a boy many a time. And I remember when I used to be an old boy on the farm, I remember braiding horsehair together, 3 strands of horsehair together and a little peg, and make like little tiny noose snares, and go and put them out on the stubble at night to catch plovers. We used to snare plovers like that, catch larks and all like it. And, well, a Fenman, it was his job to live. He didn't get a lot of many wages, not in them days. I think farm labourer's wage was about 37 shillings a week. A good man with a gun, well, you never see a thin man with a gun, do you, John? He's like me, fairly fat and well-rounded, isn't he? Because he lived well. We never used to go poaching a lot, not so much, but I studied about wildfowl all my life, and done quite a bit of wildfowling.
Can you give me some calls?
Well, there's various calls. The old curlew used to be a favourite call on the washers. It gives its ordinary long call as it's flying about, sort of. But if he's coming in to feed, he'll give a different call altogether. He'll give his 2 little sharp blasts. And they give that call only when they got a feeding ground and they're going in to feed. Well, if you know this feeding call, well, you'll get them come in and feed. The old malady, widgeon, the old cock widgeon, he's got a whistle on him. Fairly strong whistle. Then you get your wimble. Your red shank. Or some you get close and to them to shoot them. Nice dark night, so hopefully should have a catch of eels. Water temperature's about 38, that's about right.
Why is it good if it's a dark night?
It's a dark night, the water temperature's getting nice and warm, so therefore the eels should decide to run up to the tops of the river. And they're coming out of hibernation well by now. So hopefully some of them should have run foul of the nets in the night. It's always best early in the mornings for these jobs. It's quiet, there's very little wind usually, and you don't get disturbed by other people like. Set well in, we don't want the boat missing when we come back. Hold tight. Another 50 yards, much bit below that. That's fine, I like hauling on the right hand side. Not many, but one or two nice eels there. Good eel there, Tony. I've got a fair amount of eels in there. Oh my birdies, when you go, couple of fish in there I've got to pick out afterwards as well. I'll tie them up for tea. Leave them around your feet, right, okay. You can't get out. You'll hear this sucking row, and it's actually these eels drawing here from the reed roots and from the bottom of the side of the rivers. And that's what it is. And all eels do it. Some fish do. Tench will do it if there's a shortage of oxygen in the water. All eels on that side, haven't they?
Did the Fen people live off the Fens in the old days?
I think they tended to more than they do today. I mean, years ago they hadn't anything else to do. The old Fenman, he used to go out eel catching, a bit of rabbit snaring, probably poach a farmer, one or two of the farmers' pheasants, but he only killed and poached for his own table. And probably earn himself a bit of back of money, well, more than back of money in them days, because you could go out for fourpence and get a tuppenny packet of woodbines. I fetched them for my father in the olden days, and a couple of pints of beer for tuppence. So he didn't obviously make it for his back of money as we do today. Where we I won't put them down in the mud, Tony, else that'll suffocate them, won't it?
Yep.
Can't suffocate in water, you see. Put your towels at the top. Well done. You know, just use the box for a keeping box. Keep the eels in and keep them alive.
Can you show me how much you caught this morning?
Yes. Well, I've got a net which I caught this morning. I caught these lot in approximately one net. Can you get those?
What will you do with them all?
They go to, well, a gentleman comes down and fetches them alive, and they go to market, to the fish market. That's quite a good sale for them. They're very keen for them.
Did you used to eat them when you were a child?
Yes. Yes, I ate them when I was at home. My father used to cook them, he was very keen on them. But I'm not so keen on them, not the way he used to cook them, because he used to cook them in milk and parsley sauce. And I like one fried. I don't know whether you can see this box. That net was caught in the first net over the wash this morning, and this one was caught in my big net. You catch those in there with the sun on them, can you? There's about 60 pound of eels there in weight. I'll save them now till I've got about 100 pound of eels, and it's worth the gentleman's time in fetching them. Shan't never be a rich man, but probably a happy one.
How do you feel about the outsiders getting along in the Fens?
Well, as things as modern as they are nowadays, what mean they can get on in the Fen now. Of course, they got freezers and that sort of thing. But if it come hard times again, they couldn't. Of course, they wouldn't know how to, well, they couldn't catch no to live. They'd have a damn hard time. And the Fenman wouldn't help them, because they don't like them for a start. A Fed will look out his own sort, he'll look out his own coin, but not, he won't look out a foreigner. Well, only don't get me wrong with foreigner. If he lives in the next village, he's a foreigner or a Fenman.